The Galactic Concordat had maintained peace among spacefaring civilizations for over 3,000 years. Their system was perfect, or so they thought until they encountered humans. The species that would change everything made their entrance in the most unexpected way, by saving their would-be destroyers. The Concordat's first contact protocol was clear. Approach unknown civilizations with overwhelming force to ensure immediate compliance with galactic law. When their sensors detected primitive FTL signatures from Sol system, they dispatched a standard intimidation fleet of 30 vessels. Admiral Vexthor of the Concordat's Contact Division had performed this ceremony hundreds of times. The script never changed. Demonstrate superior firepower, demand submission, and integrate the new species into the galactic hierarchy. But humans didn't follow the script. The exploration vessel SS Magellan was humanity's first FTL-capable ship, crewed by Earth's finest. Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien fleet materialize at the edge of the solar system with a mixture of wonder and concern. First contact was humanity's dream, and potentially its nightmare. Multiple vessels detected, energy signatures exceeding our scale, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his sensor station. They're advancing in attack formation. Chen's lips tightened. Humanity had hoped for peaceful first contact, but they'd prepared for the alternative. Hold position. Let's see what they want. The Concordat fleet's opening move was textbook, a warning shot that would obliterate Mars' smaller moon Deimos. The display of power usually sent primitive species into immediate surrender. Except the humans didn't cower. Instead, they acted. The Magellan sensors had detected critical instabilities in the Concordat fleet's drive signatures. Their supposedly superior technology was dangerously overclocked. The warning shot would trigger a cascading reaction that would destroy not just Deimos, but potentially the entire fleet. Captain Chen made a decision that would reshape galactic history. All hands, rescue protocols. They don't know their drives are about to blow. Rodriguez, plot intercept courses. Engineering, prepare emergency containment fields. Admiral Vexthor watched in confusion as the primitive human vessel split into 3 sections, a feat that should have been impossible with their level of technology. The sections moved with impossible precision, weaving between the ships. "My lord," his second-in-command reported. They're stabilizing our drive cores. How did they even detect the instability?" The answer was simple but shocking. Humans had learned to detect drive instabilities because their own early FTL experiments had been plagued with similar problems. Rather than giving up, they'd developed sophisticated containment and rescue protocols. Where other species sought perfection, humans planned for failure. The Magellan's crew worked frantically, their ship's sections deploying experimental containment fields around the most critical Concordat vessels. Captain Chen's voice remained steady as she broadcasted on all frequencies. "Your drive cores are experiencing dangerous feedback loops. Please power down immediately. We're attempting to contain the reaction." The Concordat fleet, faced with this unprecedented situation, had no protocol to follow. Their entire contact procedure was based on demonstrating superiority. But here was a primitive species saving them from their own technological arrogance. Admiral Vexthor made the first of many decisions that would eventually reshape the Concordat. He ordered his fleet to power down and accept human assistance. Hours later, as engineering teams from both sides worked together to stabilize the situation, Vexthor stood aboard the Magellan's bridge, his ceremonial armor feeling suddenly ornamental next to the practical efficiency of the human vessel. "You knew the risks," he stated, his translator struggling with the concept. "You endangered yourselves to save those who came to subjugate you. Why?" Captain Chen's response would be quoted in Concordat academies for centuries to come. "Because that's what humans do. We've learned the hard way that real strength isn't about showing power. It's about helping others, even at your own risk. Especially at your own risk." The incident revealed something profound about humanity to the galaxy. While other species had evolved through careful advancement and protocol, humans had evolved through crisis and adaptation. Their technology wasn't perfect, it was resilient. Their procedures weren't elegant, they were practical. The Concordat's first contact protocol was rewritten after that day. More importantly, the incident forced the galaxy's oldest civilization to confront an uncomfortable truth. Their pursuit of perfection had led to stagnation. The humans' messy, practical approach to survival had produced innovations the Concordat had never considered. As the Magellan's crew worked alongside their would-be conquerors, trading stories and sharing solutions, the seeds of a new relationship were planted. Humanity wouldn't enter the galactic community as another subjugated species. They would enter as teachers, showing the oldest civilizations in space that perfection was less valuable than adaptability. Admiral Vexthor's final report to the Concordat Council contained a warning that would prove prophetic. The humans are dangerous, not because they are primitive or aggressive, but because they will make us question everything we believe about civilization. They have mastered the art of imperfection, and in doing so, have achieved something greater than our pursued perfection. The first contact incident, as it came to be known, marked the beginning of a new era in galactic history. Humanity's entrance into the galactic community wasn't marked by submission to superior force, but by an act of compassion that demonstrated a different kind of superiority. The strength to help others despite the risk, the wisdom to learn from failure, and the courage to face the unknown with hope rather than fear. 5 years after the first contact incident, the prestigious Concordat Military Academy faced its greatest challenge: integrating human students into its ranks. The academy had trained the galaxy's finest military minds for millennia, its teachings refined to theoretical perfection. But theory was about to collide with human practicality. Commandant Zixra, a crystalline being from the ancient Luminar species, stood before the Academy's council, her fractal form shifting with barely contained concern. The humans have nominated 3 candidates for our pilot program. Their qualifications are unconventional. The holographic displays showed the candidates' profiles. Maya Patel, former emergency response coordinator from Earth's orbital stations. Marcus Webb, deep space salvage expert. And Dr. Lisa Chen, younger sister of the now famous Captain Sarah Chen, with a background in experimental propulsion systems. None of them have formal military training by Concordat standards. One council member observed, their bioluminescent form pulsing with disapproval. "That's precisely why we selected them," came a voice from the chamber entrance. Admiral Vexthor, now Earth's primary advocate in the Concordat, strode in. His experiences during first contact had transformed him into humanity's strongest supporter. They represent what makes humans unique: their ability to improvise, adapt, and overcome. The Academy's first day with human students proved interesting. While other species cadets arrived with perfect knowledge of protocols and procedures, the humans arrived with questions. Endless questions. During theoretical combat simulations, Maya Patel challenged the basic assumptions of Concordat military doctrine. But what if the enemy doesn't follow the optimal attack pattern? She asked during a lecture on fleet formations. In my experience coordinating emergency responses, we had to plan for chaos, not order. The instructor, a veteran of countless regulated conflicts, had no answer. The concept of an enemy not following established patterns was alien to Concordat military thinking. Marcus Webb caused even more disruption in engineering classes. While other students calculated perfect energy distributions for ship systems, he introduced concepts like jury rating and controlled overload, practices that horrified his instructors but fascinated his fellow students. Sometimes, he explained to his bewildered classmates, "You need your systems at 150% for 30 seconds more than you need them at 100% for an hour." The concept of intentionally stressing equipment for tactical advantage was revolutionary in a culture that prized mechanical perfection. Dr. Lisa Chen proved the most disruptive influence of all. Her understanding of propulsion theory matched the Academy's finest minds, but her approach to applying that knowledge shocked them. She introduced simulation scenarios where ships intentionally induced drive instabilities to create tactical advantages, techniques developed from humanity's early, dangerous experiments with FTL travel. You're teaching them to create the very problems we seek to prevent, one instructor protested. I'm teaching them to understand these problems so deeply that they can use them, Lisa corrected. Knowledge isn't just about prevention. It's about possibility. The human students' influence spread through the academy like a benign virus. Other species cadets began asking their own questions, challenging long-held assumptions. The rigid perfection of Concordat military doctrine began to show cracks, not breaking, but evolving. Commandant Zixred observed these changes with growing fascination. The humans weren't just learning the academy's lessons, they were transforming them. Their practical experience with chaos, failure, and adaptation was reshaping the very foundation of galactic military thinking. The turning point came during the Academy's traditional crisis simulation. Teams of cadets faced increasingly difficult scenarios, testing their ability to apply Concordat doctrine to military challenges. The human students were distributed across different teams, their influence about to be tested. The simulation presented a scenario considered impossible: simultaneous drive failures across multiple ships during a combat situation. The traditional response would have been to accept defeat. No Concordat protocol existed for such a cascade of failures. But the teams with human cadets didn't accept defeat. Maya Patel's team reorganized their formation to protect their vulnerable ships, using techniques she'd learned coordinating emergency responses. Marcus Webb's team intentionally overloaded their remaining functional drives in carefully calculated bursts, using the energy discharge to create a defensive screen. And Lisa Chen's team transformed their disabled ships into makeshift platforms for emergency repairs, creating safe zones in the chaos of battle. The simulation ended with something unprecedented: success in a scenario designed to be unwinnable. The human approach of embracing chaos and turning problems into solutions had proven itself. Commandant Zixer's report to the Council was brief but profound. The humans aren't learning to fight like us. They're teaching us to think like them. And perhaps that's exactly what the Concordat needs. Admiral Vexthor, watching the graduation ceremony months later, reflected on how much had changed. The Academy's perfect formations now incorporated elements of controlled chaos. Its doctrine now included sections on improvisation and adaptation, and its graduates, human and alien alike, understood that true military excellence wasn't about following perfect protocols. It was about being ready when those protocols failed. The Academy experiment had succeeded, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of humans learning to fight wars the Concordat way, the Concordat was learning that humanity's messy approach to problem-solving might be exactly what the galaxy needed to face an uncertain future. The Nexus 7 trading station was supposed to be a routine training deployment for the Academy's first graduating class with human cadets. Instead, it became the event that would prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. The station hung at the intersection of 7 major trade routes, a massive structure of crystalline spires and energy conduits that processed thousands of ships daily. For the mixed team of Academy graduates assigned there, it was meant to be a simple observation post, watching, learning, and absolutely not interfering with the station's perfect operations. Maya Patel, now Lieutenant Patel, stood at her monitoring station alongside her alien colleagues. The team represented the Academy's new approach, a mix of traditional Concordat precision and human adaptability. Call, a towering energy being, managed power distribution. Dr. Lisa Chen supervised drive signature analysis. Marcus Webb, much to the station's discomfort, had been assigned to engineering oversight. Interesting energy pattern from the commercial sector, Catal reported, their form flickering with curiosity. Slight variations in the standard frequency. In the old Concordat, such a minor deviation wouldn't merit attention. But the Academy's new protocols, influenced by human disaster response experience, encouraged investigation of even small anomalies. Cross-referencing with known patterns, Lisa said, her fingers dancing over the holographic controls. It's similar to, Marcus, remember that salvage operation you told us about? The Titan incident. Webb's face darkened. The cascade failure. When one ship's drive malfunction triggered a chain reaction through the docking clamps. He was already moving to his station. Kittle, can you show me the power distribution across all commercial docks? The display revealed what traditional Concordat systems would have dismissed, a subtle resonance building between ships' drive systems, amplified by the station's own power grid. To most observers, it looked like normal variance. To humans who had learned the hard way about cascade failures, it was a disaster in the making. We need to shut down half these docks, Maya declared, already calculating evacuation routes. The station's Concordat administrator, a massive arthropoid named Sithtal, chittered in disapproval. Absolutely not. The disruption to trade would be unacceptable. Our systems show all parameters within normal ranges. Normal ranges don't account for resonance effects, Lisa argued. The interaction between systems is the problem, not the individual readings. This is precisely why humans were considered too disruptive. Sithtal responded. You see crisis where our perfect systems show order. The argument might have continued, but Maya had learned from her emergency response days that sometimes asking permission cost more lives than asking forgiveness. She had already transmitted her credentials to the commercial sector systems. Marcus, Lisa, start emergency shutdown procedures. Call. I need you to modulate power to the remaining docks to prevent shock to the grid. I'm starting evacuations. This is an unauthorized action. Sithtal protested. Security. Remove these. The administrator's words were cut off by the first visible sign of the cascade, a shimmer of energy between two docked ships that shouldn't have been possible. The station's perfect systems hadn't even detected it. What followed was a masterclass in human crisis management. While Concordat protocols would have tried to restore perfect order, the human graduates and their trained teammates embraced controlled chaos. Maya coordinated evacuations using emergency routes that violated standard traffic patterns but moved people faster. Marcus intentionally overloaded certain power conduits to create fire breaks in the cascade, sacrificing infrastructure to save lives. Lisa worked with Keetle to create interference patterns in the station's power grid, disrupting the resonance that threatened to tear the station apart. The humans' alien teammates, trained in the Academy's new hybrid approach, adapted quickly. Keetle's energy form danced through conduits, manually regulating power flows in ways the automated systems couldn't. Other graduates applied their traditional training in new ways, finding opportunities in the chaos rather than trying to suppress it. When the crisis passed, Nexus 7 was damaged but intact. More importantly, not a single life was lost. The human approach, identifying problems before they became critical, acting decisively even against protocol, and using controlled disorder to fight chaos, had saved one of the Concordat's most important installations. Administrator Xithal, mandibles still trembling from the experience, filed a most unusual report. The human's apparent disorder masks a deeper understanding of crisis than our pursuit of perfection has achieved. They do not simply respond to problems. They anticipate and transform them. Their chaos has purpose. Their disorder has design. The incident became a defining moment for the Academy's new approach. The success of its graduates, human and alien alike, proved that the combination of Concordat precision and human adaptability was more powerful than either approach alone. Maya found Marcus and Lisa in the station's observation dome after the crisis, watching repair crews restore the damaged sections. The station's crystalline spires now bore scars, imperfections that would have been unthinkable in the old Concordat. They're talking about leaving some of the damage visible, Lisa mentioned, as a reminder. A reminder of what? Marcus asked. Maya smiled, remembering her Academy instructor's initial horror at human methods. A reminder that perfection isn't about preventing problems. It's about being ready for them. The crisis at Nexus 7 marked a turning point in galactic history. The Concordat began to understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their theories, but in their relationship with imperfection. They had turned their greatest weakness, their constant exposure to failure and crisis, into their greatest advantage. The success at Nexus 7 led to an unprecedented decision. The Concordat Council appointed Maya Patil as the first human to command a rapid response fleet. Her unconventional team, including Marcus Webb as chief engineer and Dr. Lisa Chen heading the science division, was assigned to patrol the volatile border sectors. It was meant to be a symbolic posting, until they encountered something that would challenge both human ingenuity and Concordat doctrine. The distress call came from the Epsilon Corridor, a region where multiple species territories overlapped. A Meridian research vessel had suffered catastrophic drive failure while carrying sensitive biological samples. Under normal circumstances, Concordat protocol was clear: maintain quarantine distance and wait for specialized containment ships. But Maya's human instincts, honed by years of crisis response, told her something was wrong. The Meridians, usually precise in their communications, seemed evasive about their cargo. The drive signature doesn't match their declared ship class, Lisa reported, studying the sensor data. And these energy readings, they're consistent with weapons charging, not drive failure. Meridians don't carry weapons on research vessels, Catal observed from their energy matrix interface. It violates Section 17 of the Concordat Charter. Maya's team had learned to trust human hunches. Marcus was already running scenarios through the engineering systems. If they're charging weapons while their drive is destabilizing, the feedback could. He never finished the sentence. The Meridian vessel suddenly accelerated, its supposedly failed drive functioning perfectly. 3 more ships dropped out of FTL nearby, pirate vessels using stolen Meridian IDs. "It's a trap," Maya announced, but not with fear. Her lips curved in a slight smile. This was exactly the kind of chaos humans excelled at handling. They're expecting us to follow Concordat protocol, maintain distance, call for reinforcements, wait for proper authorities. Let's show them why that was a mistake. What followed was a display of combat that would be studied in the Academy for generations. Instead of following the Concordat's precise formation protocols, Maya's fleet moved in seemingly random patterns developed from human naval warfare. Ships accelerated and decelerated in ways that violated every principle of proper space combat. Marcus had modified their ship's power systems in ways that would have horrified traditional engineers. They could temporarily redirect power from life support to weapons, trusting in backup systems, another human innovation that the Concordat had initially resisted. "They're trying to herd us toward the asteroid field," Lisa observed. "Traditional ambush pattern." "Good," Maya replied. "Let's use that. Marcus, remember that trick you used to use in salvage operations? The one that got you banned from 3 stations?" Marcus grinned. "The resonance pulse. But that would." His eyes widened. "Oh, that's brilliant." "And terrible. Mostly brilliant." Using the pirates' own trap against them, Maya's fleet retreated into the asteroid field. The pirates, confident in their superior numbers, followed. That's when Marcus initiated his resonance pulse, a dangerous modification that used their ship's drive systems to create a wave of energy that excited the mineral contents of the asteroids. The field came alive with electromagnetic chaos. Ships designed for perfect operation in normal conditions found their systems overwhelmed. But Maya's fleet, modified with human-inspired redundancies and backup systems, rode out the storm. "Target their drive systems," Maya ordered. "Disable, don't destroy. I want to know who's breaking Concordat law so blatantly." The battle ended quickly after that. The pirate ships, their perfect systems disrupted by the electromagnetic storm, were easily captured. Investigation revealed something disturbing. They were carrying weapons developed in secret by a faction within the Meridian government, violating centuries of Concordat law. The incident sparked a political crisis. Some council members argued that Maya's unorthodox tactics were themselves a violation of combat protocols. But the evidence of illegal weapons development forced the Concordat to confront an uncomfortable truth. Their system of perfect laws and regulations had created blind spots that others could exploit. Admiral Vexthor, now a senior council member, addressed his peers. The humans don't break protocol because they're primitive or undisciplined. They break it because they understand something we forgot. That rules should protect life, not restrict our ability to save it. In the aftermath, Maya found herself summoned to the council chamber. She expected reprimand. Instead, she received a new mission. The Concordat is changing, the High Counselor announced. We need those who can think beyond our protocols, who can see the gaps in our perfect systems. We need humans to teach us how to bend without breaking. Maya looked at her team. Marcus with his dangerous innovations, Lisa with her brilliant adaptations of theory into practice, Kittal, and the others who had learned to combine Concordat precision with human flexibility. They had proven that the galaxy needed both approaches, the steady hand of ancient wisdom and the adaptable spirit of humanity. There's an old human saying, Maya told the council. The most dangerous words in any language are "we've always done it this way." We're not here to break your protocols, but to help them evolve. The Battle of Epsilon Corridor, as it came to be known, marked another shift in the relationship between humanity and the Concordat. It wasn't just about humans learning to operate in galactic society anymore. It was about the galaxy learning that sometimes the best way to preserve order was to know exactly when and how to break it. 10 years after first contact, the Concordat faced its greatest crisis. A mysterious quantum anomaly was expanding through the Carina sector, threatening dozens of inhabited systems. The perfect protocols and precise responses that had served for millennia proved useless against this chaotic phenomenon. In desperation, the Council turned to those who had mastered chaos itself, the humans. Maya Patel stood on the bridge of her flagship, the HSS Adaptable, watching the holographic display of the anomaly. Around her, a fleet unlike any in Concordat history waited for orders. Ships crewed by graduates of the new Academy program, human and alien alike, modified with Web-Chen hybrid drives that combined Concordat precision with human ingenuity. The anomaly's expansion rate is increasing, Lisa reported from her science station. Her decade of studying how human improvisational techniques could be applied to quantum mechanics had made her the foremost expert on the phenomenon. Traditional containment methods aren't just failing, they're making it worse. Marcus, now chief engineer of the entire response fleet, added, "It's like the quantum field is learning from our attempts to stop it. Every perfect solution we try gets absorbed and turned against us." Maya smiled. Then let's stop trying to be perfect. The plan they developed would have been impossible a decade ago. It violated virtually every principle of Concordat physics. But after 10 years of human influence, the galaxy had learned that sometimes the best solution was the one that shouldn't work. We're going to introduce chaos into the quantum field, Lisa explained to the Council over subspace. Not try to contain it, but disrupt its pattern with intentional imperfection. You want to fight chaos with chaos? A council member asked incredulously. We want to outchance chance, Maya corrected. It's something humans have been doing since we first looked up at the stars and decided to reach them anyway. The operation that followed redefined what was possible in galactic science. Marcus's engineering teams modified their ships to create deliberate instabilities in their drive fields. Lisa's theoretical work showed how these imperfections could be synchronized to create a larger pattern of controlled chaos. Kittal, now a commander in their own right, coordinated the energy beings in the fleet to directly interface with the quantum field. Human unpredictability combined with Concordat precision, they observed. A decade ago, we would have called this madness. A decade ago, Maya replied, we all thought perfection was the goal. Humans taught the galaxy something different. That perfection isn't about being flawless. It's about how you handle the flaws. The fleet moved into position around the anomaly. On Maya's command, they began their carefully choreographed dance of chaos. Ships deliberately induced drive fluctuations, creating ripples in spacetime that would have horrified the old Concordat. Energy beings like Hital channeled the controlled disorder directly into the quantum field. The anomaly reacted, trying to adapt as it had to previous containment attempts. But there was no pattern to adapt to this time. Every ship's disruption was slightly different, a product of human randomness guided by Concordat precision. "It's working," Lisa announced, watching her quantum readings. "The anomaly can't stabilize against our intentional instability. It's starting to collapse in on itself." The victory that followed wasn't marked by perfect formation flying or precise tactical maneuvers. It was messy, chaotic, and absolutely human. And it saved billions of lives. In the aftermath, the council chamber hosted an unprecedented ceremony. Maya Patel, Marcus Webb, and Lisa Chen stood alongside their alien colleagues as the High Counselor addressed the gathered representatives of 1,000 worlds. 10 years ago, we thought we were perfect, the High Counselor began. We had created a society of absolute order, of unbreakable protocols. Then we met humanity, and they showed us the power of imperfection. Humans didn't just adapt to our ways, Admiral Vex Thor added. They taught us to adapt. They showed us that true strength isn't in avoiding chaos, but in learning to dance with it. The Council announced a new initiative, the Formation of Adaptive Response and Crisis Engagement, or FARCE, the acronym being another human touch that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. This new organization would combine the best of both approaches, Concordat experience and human adaptability. Maya, appointed as its first director, addressed her new command with words that would be remembered for generations. "The galaxy doesn't need perfect guardians. It needs guardians who understand that imperfection, handled properly, is the greatest strength we have. Humans didn't come to the stars to teach the galaxy how to be perfect. We came to show them how to be brilliantly, effectively, magnificently imperfect." As the ceremony concluded, Lisa found herself looking out at the stars through the council chamber's vast windows. "Do you think we've changed too much?" she asked Maya. "The Concordat was stable for thousands of years before we came along." Maya watched a formation of ships outside, some flying with perfect Concordat precision, others with human randomness, creating a beautiful hybrid of order and chaos. "We didn't change who they are," she replied. "We just helped them become more of who they could be." The integration of humanity into galactic society had done more than introduce new technologies or tactics. It had taught the oldest civilizations in space something they had forgotten in their pursuit of perfection. That life itself was born from chaos, that adaptation was more powerful than rigidity, and that the most perfect system was one that knew how to handle imperfection. As Maya looked out at the stars alongside her human and alien colleagues, she remembered the words she'd spoken at her academy graduation a decade ago. "The future doesn't belong to those who try to perfect chaos or those who surrender to it. It belongs to those who learn to surf its waves." The galaxy, it seemed, had finally learned to surf.